Veteran QB incoming. Running back history definitely incoming. Fran Duffy, NFL draft incoming. The CHGO Bears Podcast. We got a ton. It starts right now. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast, and you are right, Epic 12. Carman's not going to like this discussion, but we're going to have it anyway. Thank you for being early on the chat with that one. Shout out to our guy, Adam Hoge, on his favorite podcast with Hoge Jahns. Talking to the general manager, and the backup QB came up, so we're going to get into that. Gregory P. Allen Braggs, you are with me today.
Let's go.
As you always are, my friend Stephen Nicholas producing, you in the chat, and you up there in Bears land. We got a ton for you today, and we're finally going to get to have my running back discussion, which I started working on last Sunday and is here today. But let's start with what's brewing. Shout out to our friends at Boston Beer. That's right. Sam Adams American Light. That's what's brewing. It's cold. It's crisp. It's refreshing. Game day just got better. Can't wait for game day as we get into what's brewing. And there it is. The Bears apparently, if you listen to Ryan Poles and you trusted what he said to Hoge Jahns, they are interested in a veteran quarterback. There is competition. There is conversation going on here. And, we're also going to get into that first-round running back hit rate and then the Fran Duffy situation coming up here. But let's start with the backup QB. Yep. Everybody knows where I stand on this. I think that Tyson Bagent is a starter. I think Tyson Bagent is a top 20 quarterback in the NFL. I don't think necessarily it's ever going to happen here. I actually hope it doesn't, because I hope Caleb is great, and I hope the Bears win a ton of football games. But if things did go sideways via injury or anything else, I'd be very interested in seeing what Tyson would have to do. But you also have he's a young player, and do they need to have a veteran in that room to help the room along?
And it seems like Ryan Poles thinks they do.
Right. And why do you think he thinks that? Let me ask it like that before I give my opinion.
Well, I think that Ryan Poles, I think he's trying to learn from his mistakes of last year. And so I think he's trying to surround Caleb with as healthy a room as he possibly can. And obviously him and Shane Waldron didn't see eye to eye. They brought in, a passing game coordinator, Thomas Brown, who said at one point, they weren't even talking to me. I'm playing the nickel scout team in camp because they won't let me do anything. So, how do you surround Caleb with a healthy environment of people that he can look to lean on to continue to develop? So you bring in an offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle, that doesn't have much experience. But Ben Johnson obviously is going to be the main cog, but he's your head coach. He's got a lot of work to do. So you have JT Barrett, former quarterback from Ohio State, as your quarterback's coach. And then after that, the list kind of drops off of who Caleb Williams can lean on to develop.
Right. And for those who didn't see the interview with Poles, just to underline, it was the last question of the interview, and Ryan said they're having discussions, but also hey, we have to consider who we're bringing into the room. That room is the most important room. It's a very delicate thing. So somebody has to understand what the role is. I see our guy Gary Ross putting in there, he's speculating on Teddy Bridgewater and that would be a good fit in that room. Somebody would have to understand that you're obviously not competing to be the number one quarterback. And you also have to be comfortable that you would be going up against a guy who, as Poles put it, ultra competitive and is not going to just give away the backup spot. So you have to be comfortable being a mentor almost to two quarterbacks coming in here with no guarantee that you're even going to be the backup, and or there would just be a punt on Bagent, which I don't think, judging by what Poles said, they want to do.
Right. But it was interesting to hear Poles, and you're going to have to watch the interview on Hoge Jahns. If you haven't, make sure you watch it to really understand the context. But stick with us here if you haven't first, then watch it later, then come back to the segment. Very confusing, but just do that.
Yeah.
But he does say at one point, like, hey, Bagent's not going to lay down. Like, he's very competitive, and we love what Bagent brings to this room. He's super talented, and so he's just not going to lay down for the position. He's going to compete. So that tells me that they're not just trying to bring in a veteran to be the third option and like essentially an assistant coach / third string quarterback. Like, that almost, and maybe he didn't mean to phrase it that way, but it almost sounded like they were going to bring in somebody to compete with Tyson Bagent because they don't want to keep 3 quarterbacks on the active roster.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
Well, let's take a look at the list of the guys that are out there, and here it is for you. Steven put this together. There's Aaron Rodgers. Don't throw up. He's out there, so we got him in there. Obviously, highly, highly, highly unlikely. Joe Flacco, rumored to be going back to the Browns, but certainly a guy at the end of his career who has played very well, way better than people thought. And here come the rest: Drew Lock, Carson Wentz, Case Keenum, Easton Stick, Josh Johnson, C.J. Beathard, Teddy Bridgewater, already mentioned, Jeff Driscoll, Tyler Huntley. Does anyone excite you on that list, Greg?
I mean, I think the person that would be is the person that is the picture on that graphic, and that's Joe Flacco. I mean, in an ideal world, if you're going to bring a veteran quarterback in to help be a mentor to Caleb Williams, I want a veteran quarterback that's had success in winning a Super Bowl. And so I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a realistic option, even though Caleb has looked up and idolized Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers is trying to start here his last couple of years. And I also think Joe Flacco is too. But if he's not, that would be my most ideal person to come in here. You know, a guy that's been there and done that and has that maturity and leadership that he can show the ropes to a guy like Caleb.
Right. And again, Flacco is rumored to Cleveland, and he actually could end up starting in Cleveland with their situation over there. So I would view that one as unlikely. The Aaron Rodgers thing, everyone thinks he's going to be in Pittsburgh. The Bears obviously are not going to do that. Selfishly, if I want to get out of my Bagent love for just a second here, Aaron Rodgers coming here would be great for us. That'd be incredible content. So if I'm looking at the bright side of this, if we're really going to go crazy here and talk about 12 coming to Chicago, that would give us about, 3 weeks worth of content right there if that dude landed, but that's not going to happen. So, Teddy makes a lot of sense. A guy who would understand his role.
Coaches high school kids, so
right.
He's got the coaching thing he's trying to get into, and so then there's a selling point, right? Hey, are you trying to be a coach in the NFL? Come here, be a veteran backup, and be the essential on-field coach.
Right. And anybody no one is going to sign up who's risen to that level in life. Teddy Bridgewater, starter in the NFL, multiple teams, had plenty of success. He's not going to exactly be like, yeah, sweet, I'll just come and teach Caleb everything I know and do the same thing for Tyson and just hang out and not have any interest in playing. Of course he's going to want to be on the field and show what he can do, and because you don't get to that level in life unless you have that level of belief in yourself. But that being said, you would like to think that you could also live in reality of where you are at in your career and the fact that the Bears do have a young QB who hopefully will start all 17 games and a guy behind him who the GM just said ultra competitive. And I see people in there, somebody who at the start, you're crazy, Bagent, top 20 QB. Look, man, nobody knows how good that guy is. You don't know, and I don't know. So you can flex all you want, but the fact of the matter is when he started, he won 2 games. He made a phenomenal throw across the field to Cole Kmet in the end zone, which is a big time ass throw. He's wildly competitive. He's the all-time leader in Division II history throwing the football. It wouldn't be the first time that a guy who's played a ton of reps in college, not at the highest level, and then showed his competitiveness in the NFL, ended up having success if he got a chance. Steven, I know you want to say something.
Yeah, one other guy that we haven't talked about, I think it's actually a really interesting name on that list, is Carson Wentz. I mean, the guy has won all over the place. North Dakota State National Championship, beat by Redbirds. Eagles, he was a leading MVP candidate the year they won the Super Bowl, and then he got injured, tore his ACL. We all know what happened. Nick Foles ends up finishing it off for him. More recently, he's played with Matt Stafford, same QB room as him, and then also Patrick Mahomes last season. This guy just knows all about winning, whether he's on the field or as a supplementary role.
Yeah,
he's a really interesting name. Ryan Poles does want to go this route.
And that's what I mean. Like, and when I say Joe Flacco, because he's won a Super Bowl, I do value the guys that have experienced the highs of the highs and even the lows of the lows. Like JT Barrett, was a great quarterback or a very good quarterback in college, and it didn't work out for him in the NFL. Well, there's experience there that he can show someone like, hey, this is what went wrong for me. These are the things you got to make sure you do good at, or else you're going to it's going to end up the same way it did for me. So I'm with you with the Carson Wentz thing, especially being with the Chiefs last year too. You see the standard of what the best team in the NFL and how they operate and how their quarterback operates. I know talking with Mitch Holthus at the Super Bowl when he talked about the way Patrick Mahomes goes about his business every day, that's something everyone should be following. But to go back to your whole point about Tyson Bagent being a top 20 quarterback, because I did want to touch on this. Like, I know you're high on the guy, but it is tall to say that. I think you can agree. Like, that's very tall to say that.
It's a little tall.
It's a little tall.
It's a little tall.
Talk about the guy that loves to live in reality, but then you're going to take a home run swing. And hey, how dare I ever question the quarterback whisperer of Chicago?
That's correct.
I'll respect you as much.
And you want me to get off the fence. I just said top 20. Now you want to push back?
I'm not trying to push back. I'm just saying,
no,
like,
push back.
It's a hell of a it's a hell of a statement. And I know you have had high belief in in Tyson Bagent, just as you did of Josh McCown. I was a big Josh McCown advocate. And I think with this team, talent-wise, if Tyson Bagent were to come in, I think he'd do well because they have a lot of talent on this team. And now you have Ben Johnson calling plays. So
I'll tell you what I see. I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again because I love saying it. Look, go ahead. I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Look, the dude set records in college, right? He was undrafted. I get all that. People question his arm strength or where he put up his numbers, whatever it was. But when he got here, he wasn't expected to be the backup quarterback.
No. They actually had paid a backup quarterback going into that year. Who did they cut?
PJ
Walker from the Panthers, and they paid him pretty good money. And they cut him at camp because of how well Tyson played.
And it was obvious early in camp that PJ was A, not playing well, and B, the other guy was playing well. All right. Then in his rookie year, he had to drink from a fire hose basically and start 4 games, which was wild. And
he went 2-2.
He went 2-2, and outside of that, I mean, they were tough games. The Rams game on Sunday night was not great at all, but that's about as tough as you're going to go. Let me go on the road, Sunday Night Football, dude here right out of D2, and he still had moments in that game where it looked like, wow, this dude for barely being here actually looks like he knows what he's doing. So and what I see at training camp every year is a guy that is going about his business as good as you can possibly go about it every single day. And then he gets in the off season. If you pay attention to him, right now he's probably doing a triple burpee jump, lifting weights and is in a stream eating kale and making himself even more ripped. So am I going to bet on a guy like that? Yeah, I am. I'm not going to apologize for it. Now, and
the only point I was going to make is that, okay, if you want to bring in a veteran quarterback, fine. Somebody in the chat earlier said that I'm misreading what Ryan Poles said with Adam Hoge, and I don't know if I am. I could go back and listen to it 5 more times. I listened to it 3 times, and it did sound to me where he talked about competing for that spot, didn't he? So maybe he didn't mean to say that, but that's what he said. And ultimately, I'm fine with you bringing in a veteran quarterback, but I'm not. Tyson Bagent should stay on this roster no matter what, because in the event, God forbid, that there was any kind of injury to the quarterback one, I'm not trying to put in a veteran quarterback. I want to see what Tyson Bagent has.
But that's the other part of this. Thank you. Like let's just say the worst thing happens. Caleb gets hurt. Do you want to see them try to scratch out wins with Teddy Bridgewater or Carson Wentz or whoever, or would you rather see Bagent play and see if the Bears actually have something on a team that won 5 games last year with a very tough schedule? And it'd be sweet if they got to 9-8 and with a chance to be really considered a legitimate playoff team with a chance to do something fantastic.
Well, not to mention you're in year 3 now. I mean, look at all the time you've invested in this dude.
That's
and
true
it's
too.
Through 3 different. He originally got here in a lot of ways because Luke Getsy saw him at the Senior Bowl And then Luke Getsy was fired. So he was a Luke Getsy guy in some ways. Then Shane Waldron comes here. He's still here. He makes it through with Shane Waldron. Shane Waldron's gone now. And now you have Ben Johnson here. And it doesn't sound like they're getting rid of him under Ben Johnson at this point. So, like, you've put in the time with this dude. So I'm with you. If in the event that I won't even say the unspeakable, you want Tyson Bagent to play to see what the kids got, as opposed to a guy, all due respect to Teddy Bridgewater, who I'm only bringing in a veteran to keep that as a healthy room for Caleb Williams. Well, somebody that he can lean on to come to the sidelines and look at the iPad and go over things and talk about process and things of that nature.
Well, and I think that's a good place to end this conversation, because we could probably do this for another 45 minutes and make everybody nauseous. But look, when Justin Fields was here, they had a horrible quarterback room. Nick Foles was not an asset alongside Andy Dalton with Justin. That room, for whatever reason, was not good. It didn't help the guy that you were trying to get to the highest level that he could possibly get to. So, which is why
that's where Poles is saying this is a important room. Right. Don't mess with it.
So whatever they do here, do it with Caleb in mind. You do take Bagent out of that equation. You've gone all in. You've made him the number one pick. So whatever you think is best for Caleb is how they should do this. But you better be bringing somebody into that room that's going to be good for Caleb Williams, period, end of story. So hopefully if they do bring somebody in, I'm sure that's the way they're thinking about it, and you'll just have to, we're back to trust in Poles, trust in Ben, all the things. And the Ben Johnson factor in this is very interesting. Like, how much, does he like Bagent? Does he know anything about Bagent? Is there some veteran that he loves that he thinks would be a great mentor? I would think that Ben has a lot of say in what goes on here. And with that, other people that can help the quarterback are running backs, and the Bears, of course, are rumored to take a running back. So we're going to have that conversation next. This is one of the more exciting conversations.
The most anticipated segment in
CHGO
Bears history. 4 days coming.
But first,
want to give a shout out to our guys over at Bet365. Bet365 is live in Illinois. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. You got early payout offers for Major League Baseball. My Cubbies are over 500. I have to celebrate that now while there's still time. They got some tough series here coming up. Opening day tomorrow. I will be in the bleachers for Friday 120 Club. Make sure you go meet me at Murphy's in the morning. But with the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes 5 runs ahead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app and use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. Could have used that bet against the Athletics. They were up 5 quite a bit against them. So breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, Mark Carman. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Shout out to our friends at Monarch Money. Thank God for Monarch Money, because tax season is here, and it's just helping me get through this and also helping me think about how I want to be the rest of the year, as it is getting crazier and crazier out there, by the way. Everybody knows this with the finances, as things are a little bit out of control. Track your spending, track your savings, track your investments, do it effortlessly. I recommend taking a day off from tracking your investments today, actually. But, hey, if you want to, Monarch Money is going to do it phenomenally. It is the finance tool that people actually love. Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app in 2025. Yes, this isn't fun, but it is fun when you get the smile on your face because you actually know where your money is going, and you get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser. Half off your first year. 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Use that code CHGO. Start managing your finances to build the life that you actually want. All right. To the history lesson and the running back room we go, Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
And listen.
I'm excited for this.
Well, I got to give a shout out to Biggs Time because he got me thinking about this. He had a piece on this, and there's some interesting notes that he had. Which
Biggs Time.
So shout out Biggs Time. I got to give him a little credit here because the note at the start of this is from him. Did you know, Gregory, that the top 6 rushing teams in the NFL last year, you know what they did? They made
draft.
Okay, I'm not going to quiz you. Actually, I'll do this. The top 6.
I got it wrong.
You did. They all made the playoffs. Is the point? You know who was in that top 6? The Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions. They were in that top 6. If you rush the football successfully, you got a good chance to go into the playoffs, right? That makes sense, which is why you need a good offensive line. That's why you need a good running back. That's why you need a good running game, period. All right? When's the last time the Bears drafted a running back in the top 10 in the first round, period?
Drick Benson?
2005, 4th overall. So it's been a long-ass time, man.
Very nice.
A long-ass time that they haven't drafted somebody in the first round. Now, how's that worked out for them? Bears have finished in the top 10 in rushing. How many times since 2000?
How many times since 2000?
Top 10.
Top 10?
In the top 10. That's, by the way, 24 years.
3.
Okay, good guess. Steven?
Does that include quarterback rushing?
It does, and that's a very good caveat that you just put in there. Because 2 of the times, it was because of Justin Fields. Which makes it even worse, by the way, this stat.
I'm going to say 6.
Okay, the answer is 4. 4 damn-ass times.
2 Matt Forte years.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl year. And then the Justin Fields year.
Right. So 22, 23 is most recent. The quarterback did it. All right. The point being, we haven't run the ball well here. Okay? Period. End of story. Now, so should they take a pick in the top 10? Does this make it more palatable? Well, in the top 10, all right, in the last decade, 6 running backs in the top 10. 6 of them. All right. Who are they?
6 of them in the top 10. Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey.
Correct. Who else you got?
Steven, let's go. Leonard Fournette, top 10 quarterbacks the last 6 years.
Top 10 running backs.
Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey. Come on. Let's go, chat.
Ezekiel Elliott?
Ezekiel, yes, 2016, 4th overall. Fournette was 4th in 2017. Christian McCaffrey was 8th in 2017. Todd Gurley, 10th in 2015. Saquon 2 in 2018.
Nice job, Chim.
And Bijan.
Bijan.
Last year, 2023, 8th overall, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, all right. Now, when you draft quarterbacks at the top of the draft, the first running backs. When you take running back to the top of the draft, is the first running back taken? I'm trying to figure out how likely is it that the first running back taken, the dude that everybody looks at as the best running back in the draft, like they look at Ashton Jeanty, how often is that guy the top running back in that class? All right. So you go just going through it as quickly as I can here. 2024, the highest running back taken was Jonathan Brooks, 46th overall, 2nd round, Carolina. Now, he did not end up leading that class because he tore his ACL in week 3, and by the way, it had already been torn in college once, so they took a big swing. He ends up tearing it again. The top running back last year, Bucky Irving, 125th overall, 4th round. And it is true, yes, the Bears did pick Torrey Taylor 3 picks before that, but we won't go into that. I won't get into that. By the way, the 4th leading rusher last year, 4th leading rusher in the NFL, that would be Caleb Williams, 489 yards for the record. Just a little side note there. Top 20. What's that? By a rookie. Excuse me. Thank you.
Scared me.
2023. Top running back taken was Bijan Robinson. Did he lead the NFL? Yes, he did. So 976 yards for a rookie, and then he had 1456 last year. So a big time jump. 12th overall, by the way, Jahmyr Gibbs. He is 2nd from that class. So the 2 top running backs that went last year, of course, Gibbs going to Detroit, tie it into Ben Johnson and all that. 2357, right behind Bijan. So those 2 worked out. You know who didn't work out? That'd be Roschon Johnson from last year in the 4th round. Chase Brown, 5th round pick, 1,169 yards. Compare that to 502 for Roschon, which just bringing it up because, we are talking about the general manager who has to evaluate a running back later. And in the Roschon case, as far as the production from 2023, he did not nail it.
Right, but context also is these other guys were asked to be starters versus Roschon, who was asked to be a backup.
Yeah, but if Roschon had dominated, he would have gotten a ton of opportunities. He just never really took it.
Well, he ran that dude over like week 2, and then they just stopped doing that.
Yeah. Fair enough. 2022, top running back taken. Was he the best in that draft? No. That was Breece Hall to the Jets. 36th overall. Top running back was James Cook, taken 63rd overall. I could also go down in that draft, by the way, in the 5th round, there was a Kyron Williams ran for 2,582 yards. 2022, who did the Bears draft in the 3rd round? That would be Velus Jones Jr. Do you realize how many wide receivers in that draft taken after Velus have more receiving yards than Velus?
Probably a lot.
9. In the 3rd round.
And you love Velus.
I do, but that is
it's different because he's a running back.
Yeah. 2021, top running back taken, Najee Harris, and he led that class. Still leads that class with 4,312 yards. All right. So, and you just keep going down the list. 2022, top running back? No, that was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, taken in the 1st round. Did not lead the class.
32.
Jonathan Taylor was taken 41st, 6,013 yards. Miss. 2019, top running back, Josh Jacobs, 24th overall to the Raiders, leads the class. You know who was second in that class? David Montgomery, 3rd round pick. Shout out Bears. Excellent job, Ryan Pace. That was a hell of a pick right there. 18, that's Saquon's year. He leads that draft. And second is Nick Chubb, 2nd round pick. So a lot of these are highly productive. Now, we'll wrap it up here at 2017, which I think in the last 10 years is the most, if you look at the depth of that class compared to what they're saying the depth of this class will be.
It's very comparable.
It's very comparable. Leonard Fournette, 4th overall. Pretty successful career, got hurt. I mean, not terrible, but he's the 8th most from that class. The 8th most. Who was top? Joe Mixon, 2nd round. 48th overall to Cincinnati, crushing it with the Texans. Aaron Jones is 2nd. 5th round. All right, 7,078 yards total. Of course, Green Bay, Minnesota. Alvin Kamara, 67th to New Orleans that year. Christian McCaffrey got hurt a ton, but he is the 4th in that list, 8th overall, Carolina. Dalvin Cook was in that draft, 2nd round pick, 41st to Minnesota. James Conner in the 3rd round, Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round, and then Fournette. So all these guys have had successful NFL careers. So the top, Fournette, again, 8th. Now, what does all this mean? To me, it means this. Look, if the draft is as deep as everyone says, if it's 2017, you can wait. If you don't want to, if you end up with Kareem Hunt with the 72nd pick overall, you went 86th that year. That's fine, as long as you get Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
but you're much more likely to get the successful running back. As you look at the production of the running backs that have been taken in the top 10, they end up being very productive. It's hard to miss there. Of course, the Bears, we can talk about Curtis Enos and all that stuff. I didn't go that far back. But the point is, it is hard to miss at the top of the draft if you want to be sure that you're getting the right running back.
The weird part, though, also is some of these running backs that were taken at the tops of draft, Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, whoever you want to say. Yeah, they end up leaving they don't find that ultimate success with the first team. Saquon Barkley obviously wins the Super Bowl last year. So it's like,
that's on the Giants.
But exactly, that's the other kind of caveat is we're not going to do this again like we did last year with Caleb, but like the best situation a running back has ever been drafted to, for the Bears this year. It's a tongue in cheek, obviously, right. But this essentially, ideally or theoretically, would be a very good situation for a guy like Ashton Jeanty to get drafted into when you consider the talent on this team and the coach calling plays, but they got to do it first.
Right. And
I'm with you with the whole Alvin Kamara thing. Draft the Saints. I brought this up a week ago. The Saints drafted an offensive lineman out of Wisconsin in the 1st round and drafted Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round. And if we could find that recipe, that's what I'd prefer over the Ashton Jeanty at 10. But until we're not going to know these things. You know what I mean? Like you can't guarantee it.
I mean, but what stands out to me just after just looking at it. Look, first of all, I mean the Bears have not been a successful offensive football team as a whole, with the very few exceptions of when Cutler and Mark Trestman and that era was going on, the end of Lovey, whatever. But they just haven't run the ball well. So they've had success in drafting later round running backs. David Montgomery was a good pick, and I didn't go go back as far back as Jordan Howard, but Jordan Howard was the third most productive running back from the 2016 draft, where you had Zeke going 4th overall and Derrick Henry. Howard was 3rd in that draft, the 5th round pick. I mean, they've had some successful late round picks, but they have not actually had a very productive running game that has translated into wins.
And running backs are making a comeback too. You know what I mean? So like when you look at the way the NFL has gone, because defenses are so dead set on making sure they don't get beat over the top now, that's opened up where you're saying like the top 6 teams with running games made the playoffs. Well, you got to zig while the league is zagging. And so you're seeing, guys that are trying to get tougher in the trenches and ground and pound, meat and potatoes, because the league's gone, with smaller defensive linemen that are faster, but look at the Eagles. They're like, when the Eagles lined up against the Chiefs, it was like watching Ohio State play Colgate, like mammoths on one side of the ball. Then you got Saquon Barkley just trucking people. So it's a copycat league. So you're going to see teams follow that recipe.
All right. Well, this leads us perfectly into our draft expert, the guru, fantastic, the Franimal, Fran Duffy, coming up here in a matter of moments. But first, shout out to our friends at Empire Today, the flooring experts, the dedicated flooring professionals who were 7 times better at flooring than Greg Braggs ever was at laying brick. No offense, Braggsy, but these are the pros.
They're the best.
They are the best. Empire stores, Empire Today versus the big box stores. You don't want to do that. You want the first-class service. You want them to come. My favorite thing about Empire Today, they're coming right to your house, man. You don't need to go find the store. You don't need to wait in line. They're coming right to you. They're going to show you the floors they're going to put in your house, give you the first-class service. This is how this is going to look. It's a beautiful thing, and you're getting the experts there. This is what you want to do. You want to schedule that free home estimate today if you need some flooring, because some things are better at home. CHGO listeners, we got you. $350 discount. You get that when you use the promo code CHGO. That's correct. $350 off. It's a big number right there. Just depending on what you're doing with your flooring, that percentage could be very high. $350 discount with the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/CHGO for all the details.
That's right. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Shady Rays. I'll definitely be wearing my Shady Rays in the bleachers all summer long. Our friends at Shady Rays are helping you to get in the right frame of mind with their premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their sunglasses have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. With so many colors available, you'll find a pair that's perfect for you. You can even get, Bears colors with your glasses.
There you go, buddy.
There you go. Or Cubs. Come on now. Cubs are on the come up here. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by their lost or broken replacement program. Seriously, you accidentally step on them, they give you a new pair. What company does that? If you don't love your shades, exchange for a new pair. What company does that? Or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. CHGO viewers and listeners, go to ShadyRays.com and save 35% off polarized sunglasses with the code CHGO. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars, so use code CHGO today at ShadyRays.com.
All right, to the NFL draft expert we go. Our all-city guru, Fran Duffy, franchise mode. Fantastic.
Franimal.
The Franimal. Our hero.
Fantastical.
Be a diehard. Read every that got uncomfortable. Read every detail that you could possibly ever want to read. What's up, Fran?
Carm, Braggs, what's happening, boys? I'm glad you guys are the first that have called me Franimal. That was a nickname when I first got into working in football. So that's I appreciate that one.
Hey,
we appreciate you.
We're doing the best we can here, and you deserve all the accolades. So that's why we're here. Hey, I don't know how much you heard of that running back conversation, but I dialed up, going back through the last 10 years, you look at running back drafts, and everyone keeps talking about the depth here. 2017, Fournette, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Kareem Hunt. I mean, that's a hell of a list right there. Do you, in your Fran expert opinion, do you think we're going to look back at 2025 and think, wow, that looks awful similar to 2017? Do you think there's that much talent in this draft?
Yeah, I do think that there is that level of talent, Carm. I think when you're looking at this group, no matter what you're looking for, if you're looking for like that dynamic change of pace guy, if you're looking for that early downs workhorse, if you're looking for a true 3-down presence, I think you're going to find those examples here in this class. Now, that said, is every one of these guys going to hit? No. One name you left off that 2017 group is a player that was well familiar with when he was selected. It was the Eagles pick at running back that year because that was their strategy was, we're going to wait. We're going to push off that selection. Let's take one early day 3 because you know what? This is a loaded class. We can get one later. Let's take the guy that had the best production out of this whole group. He set all kinds of records. It was at a lower level of competition. Let's take Donnell Pumphrey down at San Diego State, and that guy never played, never amounted to anything in the NFL. And so all that to say is you can't just say, oh, we're just gonna kick the can down the road. We'll take a running back later. You better make sure you get that pick right because they're for every Alvin Kamara and James Conner and Kareem Hunt that you take in rounds 3, round 4, there's going to be the Donnell Pumphreys of the world as well.
Well, let's try to find that Bucky Irving, our good friend and loyal viewer of this show, Gary Ross. He's our insider, too. We call him Gary Rappaporter. He's shared with me a link here with Matt Miller, obviously the NFL draft scout for ESPN and everything. He said, this year's Bucky Irving is R.J. Harvey. He says, I love his game, productive, shifty, decisive, good receiver. So for you, when you look at R.J. Harvey, do you see that same assessment as somebody that the Bears can find in a later round like that?
Yeah, I think that Harvey's game is definitely a little bit different than Irving. But if you're saying, all right, like a guy that's going to go in the middle rounds that could pop, there are some wide varying opinions on Harvey. I'm probably on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of his game. I would say that there are some that are very high on him and do view him as that potential, mid-round sleeper type. This is a guy that's got patience, that ability to be that one-cut runner, stick his foot in the ground and get vertical downfield. I think that he does have an element there. I do worry a little bit about the size and play strength, the ability to play through contact consistently. I do worry about that ability to consistently make that first man miss. But I think when you're looking at Harvey, he is a little bit of a beauty is in the eye of the beholder type of situation. If things are really well blocked up for him, I do think there's something there. He tested really well. I mean, he went 4.4 flat, just over 200 pounds. But again, at that size, I worry a little bit about the smaller backs, guys. And honestly, that goes back to the Donnell Pumphrey conversation because the size was just too much for him at the NFL level. But I think when you're looking at Harvey, that is my big hang up is like the size strength component at the position.
Reading your breakdown of him here, Fran, sounds to me a little Khalil Herbert-esque, if you will. You write, very patient, deliberate, methodical runner approaching the line of scrimmage, both downhill and on perimeter plays. But when he sees it, he cuts it loose. I mean, that sounds a lot like Khalil to me right there. And, of course, Khalil was a late-round pick who's led the NFL in yards per carry, so it means he surprised some people.
Yeah, and with Herbert, I remember watching him, and I liked Khalil Herbert coming out. I thought he was a little bit, shiftier, make that first man miss in a phone booth. He did that a little bit of a higher rate, where I think that with Harvey, he's just a little bit more wound up, straight line, Energizer Bunny type of runner, just a different style. But I think in terms of the archetype, hey, you know what, undersized back who's got that patience and that vertical ability, I do think that there are similarities there.
All right, yes, no, go ahead. No,
I'm sorry if you had something.
No. I'm going to defer to you, Gregory. You seem hyped.
Yeah, I'm always hyped. I'm always hyped to talk to Fran. And so for me, I'm looking at some different players here to see on a potential trade back. And a name that's starting to pop up more and more for Bears fans, obviously, is Josh Connerly. And I'm curious, like, where do you think it's acceptable to take him? Because it doesn't feel like that's 10. So then, like, how do you do this if you're the Bears? So, like, you got to trade back. But if there's no trade back partner, then you got to trade up. Do you think he can fall to 39? And what do you think of him overall as a player?
Yeah, I do think that there's a chance he's there at 39. This is a player that is really athletic. I think that there's position flexibility there that, you could move him around. He's been primarily a left tackle during his time with the Oregon Ducks, but there are some people that feel like he could make the move and be kind of an athletic zone blocking guard as well. It wouldn't shock, like, to me, like, he is, and you guys have seen this up close, he is a classic, like, Green Bay Packer, draft him as a college tackle, slide him in, and then he becomes a 10-year starter at guard. Like, he's got that kind of feel to him. He's not always my cup of tea, personally. I do worry a little bit about the play strength, and that's not just in the pass game, where that anchor can definitely stand to improve. We saw that at the Senior Bowl. He got rocked up by Mike Green there on that clip that went viral, but I think his power in the run game is a little bit underwhelming as well. I'm going to be honest, like, my first pass through when I watched Josh Connerly for the first time early in the fall, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I thought that he was probably more of like high-end backup, low-end starter. And talking with people more and more through the fall as it went on, it was like, no, like, this guy's going to go early. Like, make sure you watch him again. And I watched, and he grew on me a little bit, but still not to the level where I felt super comfortable as a lock for the first round. I think a lot of the mock drafts that have come out since the season ended had him as a lock first rounder. And I think people have cooled off a little bit on that, and you're starting to see him at most, he's going in the mid-20s. But I think it's probably more plausible that he is available for the Bears, Braggs, with that second round pick.
Okay.
Stephen Nicholas is up now here, Fran. He's been chomping at the bit.
Fran, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson went to Ohio State's pro day over LSU's and Boise State's. Is there any second or third round fits that you could see for the Bears for Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, my mind goes to JT Tuimoloau, the pass rusher there, who's been a first-team All-Big Ten selection each of the past 3 seasons, and his game is built off power. And we've talked about that with Dennis Allen, is that he wants those defensive ends to be big, sturdy pocket pushers. He's not like as explosive and like that straight, like, upfield, like, wow, kind of sexy rusher that way, that maybe like Marcus Davenport was when they traded up to take him in the first round when they were in New Orleans. But I think when you're looking at him from an archetype standpoint, I do think that he would make some sense. The other one would be Josh Simmons. And to me, look, this was a guy that I was very close to mocking to the Bears at 10 overall when I did my first mock draft back in January. Obviously, look, with the patellar tendon, how high could he go? How far could he fall? You want to do your homework there and make sure that you understand, like, what is the range for this player? If you told me that Josh Simmons went in the top 15, I would say, yeah, the tape would tell you that that's going to be the range. But you could say, like, if the medical reports don't come back and everybody, like, off-field stuff, like, if all that doesn't come back super clean, maybe you don't want to take that risk off the injury. And now he falls to the second round. I could buy that as well. I just think that the talent is too great that he would fall that far. I think it would require a Bears trade up from their second round pick to move up to get a player like Simmons. If you decide to go defensive line or Ashton Jeanty at 10 overall, you make that move to try and get your left tackle of the future there, with Josh Simmons.
Well, speaking of Ashton Jeanty and our weekly Ashton Jeanty stop, what's your sense on where he's going right now, Fran? People keep on saying that he's not going to get to 10. I'm trying to figure out who's going to take him. The new Raiders general manager, he has not drafted a running back that high, so I'm hoping that.
But his kid is threatening him that he better take him.
Yeah. Well, and in a part 2 of the Jeanty, he did fumble a bunch here. 4 times in 23, 5 times last year.
That's not that much.
Well, I want to know because Fran watches a little
How many times did he get a carry? That's nothing.
Okay.
How many did he lose?
It is a lot of fumbles. Now, sometimes I try and make it a point to go back and watch. If a running back has a lot of fumbles, I'll try and go back and watch them all. And the thing that stood out with Jeanty, because sometimes a running back will get credited with a fumble if it's an option play and it's he dropped the toss, or it's a mesh point and the quarterback and running back weren't on the same page and the ball hits the ground, right? That was not the case with Jeanty. Every single one of his fumbles the last 2 years were like second and third effort, late in the down, ball gets punched out, ball slips out, and it's on the ground. So those are things he will need to clean up, certainly, moving into the NFL. As far as where he's going to go, guys, I think he's going to be a Raider. I think at the end of the day, it's not necessarily a John Spytek decision solely. I do think that Pete Carroll, he's going to carry a lot of the juice. He's going to carry a heavy stick, in those conversations leading up to the draft. And we know, Pete Carroll, he wants to be able to run the football. He wants to run it with authority. They want to go in and they're going to try and compete right now. Pete Carroll's not getting any younger. He said at his opening presser, I'm coming in here my previous stops at USC and Seattle. We took our time. We did it the right way. We are here to win right now. And so to me, I look at the other additions they've made this offseason. They kind of left running back alone for the most part. They went out and got Raheem Mostert, but outside of that, they've left it alone. I think it's because they've got that number 6 spot earmarked for Ashton Jeanty. I would be surprised if he's not the pick at this point.
Interesting. Okay, I don't think Bears fans want. I didn't even enjoy hearing that because I fell in love with Jeanty this week, Fran. I've had a transformation. I'm pretty proud of myself for having such an open mind. It's really I never cease to amaze myself. Actually,
that's big of you.
Thank you. Hey, Tyler, do you think Tyler Warren's going to the top 10? Because now I'm hearing whispering on that too.
I think so. I think he might. My gut instinct right now is that he actually goes the pick after Jeanty. I think he ends up being a New York Jet and goes 7 overall. I think when you're looking at New York, you got Justin Fields. It doesn't sound like they're going to be going quarterback there this year. I think they want to continue to add playmakers around him. Obviously, they went out. They lose the Devontae Adams in free agency. I think that they were in the Brock Bowers conversation a year ago. Obviously, it's a new regime, new coaching staff, but that's a team that needs weapons for their offense. I think that Tyler Warren brings the type of attitude that I think that they want to instill there, in New York with Aaron Glenn. I think that might be the fit that makes the most sense in my mind.
I mean, Jeanty at 6, Warren at 7.
Puke at 10.
Everybody has the quarterbacks falling now. So is this helping the Bears at 10 or hurting them?
No. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on your point of view. If you were a Bears fan that wanted Jeanty, then you're not feeling great about it. But I think if you want to go lineman, that's going to make you feel pretty good, right? Doesn't Armand Membu maybe slip through the cracks there? Because that would be someone. If it's not Membu, is it Will Campbell? Or do one of those two guys slip through the cracks? If not them, is it Mason Graham? All of these guys can't go, right? So if you're going to get the running back and the tight end are going to go that high, if they're both going to go in the top 7, it would stand to reason that you're going to get one of these other guys that we're not necessarily talking about making it to 10 fall to that spot. And that's why, whenever we've had this conversation about the scarcity of blue chip talent in this class, it does ultimately come down to how each team views those clusters. If you've got your top tier and that's the Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter tier, all right, you got those guys. All right, who's next off the board? How big is that cluster for you? Who is in that cluster? If Will Campbell's in there, but Membu's not, or if Membu's in there and Campbell's not, but Mason Graham's in there, but maybe Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, he's not in there. All 32 teams are going to view them a little bit differently. So now if you're the Chicago Bears, you might be sitting there and, the New York Jets are on the clock at 7 and you're sitting there all right, we've got 3 guys left on this board. We only have 3 picks left. We're going to get one of our guys with this cluster. Feel good about it. Or you might sit there and say, we only have 1 guy left. There's 3 picks left. Either we're going to make a move up or we're probably going to have to move back. We're not going to get the value that we want. And so those are the kind of the dynamics that now that Pro Day circuit is finished for the most part. I know we've got Shador here later on this week, or next week rather, a week from now. All these teams are going to be having those conversations, really kind of playing things out, talking through all the different possibilities and permutations here that could happen on draft night.
Fran, the Bears are very thin at linebacker. One guy I've circled is Chris Paul Jr. Does he fit the Bears, or is there another value linebacker that might be a better fit?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at when I look at Dennis Allen, to me, I think of guys that have that ability to impact the game as rushers, as blitzers, because he loves to be able to bring those guys down on 3rd down, mug them up on the line of scrimmage, use them in stunts and twists with the defensive line. He did that with Pete Werner. He did it with Demario Davis. He loves being able to use those guys as kind of versatile pieces. He loves guys that can run and chase. You think of they went out and signed Willie Gay from Kansas City a couple years ago. He likes that kind of skill set at the position. I do think Chris Paul checks a number of those boxes, Steve. This is a player that is a little bit lighter in the pants. That's why he might go a little bit later in the draft. But I think when you're talking about like run and chase, physicality, he certainly brings that. As far as like other linebackers that I do think kind of match that skill set, the one guy that certainly comes to mind for me, I think that there's Tyreen Powell from Rutgers. He's got that size profile that I think has matched. I like a Barrett Carter from Clemson as a day 3 type of selection. But that's also and I've thought about this at times with Chicago, and it depends on how they view this player. Jalen Walker. If Jalen Walker, because we're talking round 1, right? But if Jalen Walker didn't go number 8 to Carolina, and you viewed him as a linebacker and didn't view him as an edge rusher, because if you view him as an edge rusher, if you're Chicago, I don't think he's a fit for Dennis Allen. But if you view him as a linebacker, I think that he would actually make some sense. That would be a team and a coach that I would like that pairing, because then you're saying, I view him as a DeMario Davis type where, early downs, he's going to play off ball. But when we get to pass down situations, he's going to mug up over guards. That's honestly where I love Walker most. Like, I'm down on Walker compared to the consensus, but I love him as a rusher matched up on guards, standing up over the ball inside like that. And that's what I think Dennis Allen would use him as. So that would be like, in terms of like a surprise Bears first round pick, that would be one that I would keep earmarked as well.
Well, in your notes on him is that Walker gets to the quarterback when nobody blocks him.
Yep.
Which, I mean, you couldn't do that because you've got a torn ACL. But it's always like, that's why you have to watch. Oh, he got there because they have a great scheme and there's a ton of guys, and sometimes when you play for Georgia, they can't account for everybody, and you're going to get some free runs.
Yeah, and if the Bears draft a linebacker at 10, Bears fans will collectively lose their mind. So we're going to finish this off with our Emmy Award-winning segment. That's the Fran Duffy Rapid Fire.
There's they got sound bites on CHGO Bulls. What's up with that?
We need some sound bites, Steven.
All right.
Jeez Louise. All right, so Fran, we're going to do some rapid fire here. Stick with the running backs here to start. Chuck 357 here from our diehards in our Discord channel submitted this question. What would the situation have to be for the Bears to draft Amari and Hampton?
Yeah, you don't love any of the linemen that are available, and he is the best player available on the board. Or if it's a trade back situation, like you get a deal to trade back, you pick up some extra capital, you recoup some of the picks you lost in some of the trades that you made this offseason already, and then you take Hampton in the middle of the first round. I think that would be the scenario.
So you think no chance he'll be there at 39?
No, I don't. I think he's definitely off the board in the first round.
Yep. Okay.
Climber Andrew had another running back question just to try to get all these running back. It's like a running back themed show today, so we might as well stick with it. Climber Andrew says, what are Fran's tiers of running backs? I don't want you to give away your entire draft board here, but maybe give him a little taste of how maybe your tiers work here.
Yeah, I would say, Ashton Jeanty, top tier. I would have a Marion Hampton as a tier below, just below Ashton Jeanty. After that, I have Judkins, Henderson, Caleb Johnson, and then Bashul Tutin from Virginia Tech all together in a group as well. I love Henderson. I love his film. I just wonder, is he more of like a 1B back? And I think at that size, that's as opposed to being like that true workhorse. That's my only knock on him. I wouldn't fault a team for drafting him high just because the character is A+. Everybody raves about him. And certainly he's got that dynamic game-breaking ability. But this was the first year he was able to really stay fully healthy. And so that size does concern me moving to the NFL.
Okay, moving things along here. Appreciate all your insights. Shockey asks, who are the best edge rushers / defensive line players who could be available at 39 or 41 that would also fit Dennis Allen's system?
Yeah, and we've talked about it. I think that those edge rushers that you're looking for in round 2, typically to fit Dennis Allen, longer, more power-based rushers. I look at Landon Jackson from Arkansas. He has got that body type. We talked about Tui Moloau from Ohio State. I think that he certainly fits that. Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, formerly of Purdue, led the Big Ten in sacks back in 2023. I think he checks a lot of those boxes as well. Shamar Stewart, that's a first-round pick, but he's got that body type. Jordan Birch is another one from Oregon. I think that he certainly fits. So honestly, there's no shortage of players here that I think fit the Dennis Allen archetype off the edge.
All right. Gary Ross asks about Addison West and what you think of him, because the Bears are bringing him in for a top 30 visit. He's a local kid coming from Western Michigan, but he is from the Illinois area. So he doesn't count against their top 30, I guess, by rules of what the top 30 is. But they're bringing him in for a visit nonetheless. Offensive lineman Addison West. What do you think of him?
Yeah, late rounder that I have not done a full tape study on him yet, and so my goal is with all of the teams in our network that have these like late round flyer type visits that I haven't done, I will make sure I get to them before the draft just in case they are selected. So for our draft show with CHGO, they make that pick in the 6th round. I'll be able to give you more insight there on Addison West.
Oh, and that's respectable, right? He's taking care of you guys individually as the fans, but he's honest about it too. Doesn't just start pulling, takes, it's going to do the homework first to give you the right evaluation. Sticking with the offensive lineman, Bro Delicious, our guy here from the Discord channel says, Josh Simmons, where might have he gone if he was healthy? Best and worst case spots in the draft where he lands if not fully healthy. This is like really hard to read. And he goes, I know he may have been brought up before, but maybe it was before his pro day. So he's just basically asking about what his health status is and best and worst case scenario where he could get drafted.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. I think that at his peak, when he was healthy, I think he was a potential top 10 pick and potential first tackle off the board. But at this point, he could fall into round 2, could also still go in the top 15 if you're believing in the tape.
Okay, quickly moving to the next offensive lineman. Andrew M. is asking about
M-Dog.
Yeah, Ursary. He wants to know why you're so much higher on Ursary than the consensus.
I just believe in the talent there, and at the end of the day, like I don't think that he's not a finished product, certainly. But I think when you're looking at tackles that are flawed, I think of like a Terrence Steele. The money that those guys get on the open market. Basically, I explained in the big board like how I rank guys. Like I base that off what the type of player I feel like he can be. I think at Ursary, at the end of the day, not a finished product, but tackles that aren't finished products, like even if he doesn't fully hit his ceiling, those guys get paid on the open market.
All right, final one. Thank you for getting through this rapid fire with our diehards. If you want to become a diehard and get your questions in to Fran here before we get to the draft, go to allchgo.com/diehard. And he asks about a few different players, Gray Zabel, Walter Nolan. It's a little lengthy here. He says, why would 10 be too early, quote unquote, to draft someone like Gray Zabel or Walter Nolan or Amarian Hampton, as we talked about, if nobody is trading up?
Yeah, and this goes to the scenario we talked about a little bit ago, right? Where it's just it all is going to come down to how teams view each cluster of players, and that's why I always work off a horizontal board as opposed to a vertical board. Because if you get wrapped into 15th best player versus 10th best, that's not really how teams look at it. They're more looking at who is going to be there in that same cluster along that same top row of the horizontal board. If you've got all guys clustered together, you're typically going to go towards an area of need and who can best impact your team.
Yeah. For sure. Well, that wraps things up for our rapid fire segment. Emmy award winning, Oscar award winning.
You got me peaked on on rootin' tootin'. Let's go Va-Tech. Let's get some speed in here for Ben Johnson. Let's go late round rootin' tootin', fresh and fruitin', but the Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity. Anybody remember that? Of course they do. I know you do. What? Rudy Tooty fresh and I mean that dude sells jerseys. Does he not?
I think you can make it happen. That 4.3 speed will do it too, Carm.
Yeah, I mean that.
Rudy Tooty, fresh and fruity.
Did you ever go Rudy Tooty, fresh and fruity?
I did not.
That's unfortunate. Hey, Fran, you know what you were today? You were phenomenal again, dude.
Appreciate it, man.
Phenomenal.
Carm, Braggs, we'll talk next week. I appreciate you.
Be good, brother. Thank you, Fran.
Yeah. All right.
Was it? Is Carm Sweet Bippy right about that? It was IHOP with the Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity. Was that Dennis?
I have no idea what you or Sweet Bippy are talking about.
You don't know the Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity?
No.
What kind of show is this? Who am I working with here? Actually, you probably.
I think we're all asking the same thing.
Put that.
We're all asking the same thing about each other.
How did this happen? It's one of the more miraculous things in the history of podcasting. Hey, hit the like button for Fran on the way out. And yes, it is the top of the hour. So thank you to everybody who's watching us on Samsung TV, Roku TV, all the TVs out there. Become a diehard before you click off your TV and come to our draft party. April 24th, 25th, 6 to 10, 115 Bourbon Street. Braggs is going to be the most delicious honey bear that he's ever been. He will. Bo Chanton. It was IHOP. We will have IHOP as a late night when you leave there. We're gonna go to the hop.
Pour the syrup on me.
Yeah. With
that's
the
right. Honey bear.
Honey bear with some. We're gonna go. You know what we're gonna have for you on that night? We're gonna go organic farm local honey to make you even sweeter. We're gonna get the good stuff. We're not going. Nothing. We're gonna go. We might even dial up the Floose. Find out where the Floose has a farm. Get you the good.
I'm
honey.
hot. Sticky sweet.
Become a
From
diehard
my head to my feet. Yeah.
artist.
I don't remember.
Pour some sugar on me. You don't know the artist?
It's been a long day. Make sure you go to allchgo.com/diehards to sign up or use the QR code on your screen. Who?
It's Def Leppard, dog.
Def Leppard. That's right.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
And I won't.
And I need.
And I love Adam Hoge. And I won't.
Is he still in Florida?
I don't know.
Oh, he's here, huh?
He's not here yet. He's still in Florida.
Still in Florida.
He's got a flight.
He's flying back.
The weather ruined everything for him last night.
Yeah, ruined everything.
He's flying
That
back.
darn
today.
weather.
We're having a meeting in 29 minutes that he's going to be on. It'll be me and Hoge tomorrow as Brez gets the day off.
It's not the day off. I'm working.
Yeah,
I am working tomorrow.
Yeah, Braggs will be drunk in the bleachers tomorrow. it's really
Friday 120 Club, as I've been telling people.
Yeah.
Every Friday day game at Wrigley. We start at Murphy's, and then we'll be in the left field bleachers. If you are going to the game tomorrow, this is not an event you have to pay for. You just come and hang out with us, get your Friday 120 Club shirt, and be a part of the gang with me, Cody Del Mendo, Emma Alperovich. Sarah will be there. Let's go, Sarah. It's going to be a lot of fun. Joey Christopoulos is going to be there. A lot of CHGO Cubs fans and everybody else in between.
Chris Panko, sales guy extraordinaire.
Chris Panko will
in
be
the
there.
chat. Assuming Panko will be
Sunnyside.
Everybody will be sunny-siding.
Everybody will be Sunnyside.
You guys are
wearing our Shady Rays.
Right. If you do have a bleacher ticket, you guys are one
having
of the
a Sam Adams.
You're in the left field bleachers in like the first row.
Yeah.
Acting like idiots.
Yep. We're in the left field.
And
all wearing our green shirts.
Who's that guy that I once shouted out because he got yelled at for catching a ball?
My Thai guy.
Yeah, my Thai guy's over there.
Yeah, my Thai guy will be there.
Yeah. Does he know about us? Is he a CHGO fan? Is my
Thai
Thai guy?
He's a big fan.
He's
a big fan.
Yep. Okay. Well, you guys have a great time. Me and Hoge will be working.
I'll be working too.
Steven will be working, I believe.
Events.
And we have a draft interview tomorrow too that we'll be doing. Boy. So rock and roll on that one. A lot of fun today. A lot of fun this week. We'll hopefully, not even hopefully, we will finish strong tomorrow. Anything else that we didn't get to today, Steven, that I left on the table?
Well, do we have any super chats here? We have a super chat from Gabe Gardner, $4.99.
Gardenier.
No,
get it right.
No, I'm changing it. Gabe Gardner. Sounds more fancy. Chicago sports are giving me hope again. Kind of scary. At 20, I only remember the Hawks being great. May have to put resting Hoge face to rest.
Don't get
ahead of yourself, Gabe. Don't get greedy here. Okay. Nothing has happened yet. We have to wait for something to happen to get excited.
Yeah, but I'd like to know where his excitement is coming from. Is it the Cubs sweeping the A's?
It's the Bears making all these moves, the draft, everything feels right. Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to explain this to Lance Briggs. And by the way, tonight, make sure you tune in. CHGO Bears After Dark will be live at 6 or will be premiered at 6 p.m. Central. I recorded with him this morning. He had a lot of great things to say. We did the 5 for 55, talked a lot of draft, talked about the tush push, talked about his draft process leading up to when he was coming out of the University of Arizona as a third-round pick. So a lot of really good stuff there. So make sure you tune in tonight to CHGO Bears After Dark. So 2 shows today for the price of 1.
You really are just grinding it out.
Grinder. Grinder. I had physical therapy this morning. Then I did a show. Then we had our pre-show meeting. Now I'm doing another show. Then we have a meeting here in a little bit. And I'm going to listen. And I'm going to do what I'm told.
Thank God. All right. We can only dream. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the like button on the way out here. Tell a friend about the CHGO Bears podcast. We greatly appreciate it as we try to grow this. We're about, 500 subscribers away from 80,000?
That's right.
Let's go. We're not leaving until we hit 80K. Come on. Let's go.
80K.
We have a meeting in 25 minutes.
We're not leaving.
All right.
We'll do the meeting live.
If you could get us closer to 80K, if you're not a subscriber today, we would greatly appreciate that. It'll be
everyone have both their parents subscribe. How many people are in the chat right now? And if they got everybody right, if everybody watching live right now gets both their parents to subscribe, we will hit 80,000.
For those of you who have lost your parents or one of your parents, we send our condolences because I'm sure not everybody is 10 that's watching the show. So maybe a friend or a cousin or anybody. Thank you.
Oh, God.
I am a little, I get a little sensitive on the parent thing. Okay.
Hold up here. Pizzatola says, Steven, can I get on the show to argue with Carman at the draft party? I want Pizzatola. I want to meet Pizzatola very badly.
This is what I don't like. It's almost like the Duke for those of you that have been around for a few years, the Duke used to be a big super chatter, and now he's since disappeared. He's probably dead. And I don't know if I want Pizzatola to reveal himself. Like you
like him as a mystery
figure?
figure?
Like it's gonna lose the mystique a little bit.
I think you should go to the draft party regardless.
What if he's goofy looking or something?
We put you on the show every day.
That'd be better.
Yes.
Remember? Yeah. I mean,
shut up. I want to meet Pizzatola. No
you gonna
offense.
bounce him on your knee like you did that?
No, we're gonna
secret Bagent guy.
That was phenomenal. Look, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll give him a hug for sure. And Pizzatola is. Are you kidding? I want to meet the Pizzatola. I don't want him to be anonymous forever. Come to the Pizzatola. Me and you draft party. Argument might be after the draft party's over. We'll put it on tape and bring it back, but we'll get it done. Something will happen. Gary Ross, if you want to buy Pizzatola's ticket, feel free to I'm sure Pizzatola would appreciate that. Crystal wants to meet you too. Look, everybody wants to meet Pizzatola. Pizzatola might be the most popular guy at the draft party. So there you go, Pizzy. We love you, even though everything you've said about me, but I'm not even going to think about that right now. All right. Have a great rest of your day. We're back tomorrow at noon. Be safe out there. And for those of you who are not watching tomorrow's show, just a reminder, I will be at the Cubs game on Sunday. So come say hi on Sunday because opening day is just for the cool people, but the cooler people go when it's freezing cold on a Sunday and it's early in the season. Thank you very much. I don't know how that just came out of my mouth, but that just happened. Shout out to you, Tyson Bagent. We had your back today. You two running backs. You two Braggs. You two Steven. Now I'll stop talking. Have a great rest of your day.
We all silly like the mayor.